have heard all your introductions, and most of you were unable to give your introduction properly. Most of you had just included your name, mentioned your name and your hobbies, and some of you had also mentioned the name of your hometown. But you need to add certain other things when you introduce yourself, especially when this question is asked to you in an interview. You cannot just wrap it up within 10 seconds or 20 seconds. You have to make it a bit longer. So your introduction should be generally of 1 minute. Okay, so that is why you need to add certain other details as well in order to make it long, not only long, also to make it informative. When somebody asks you to give your introduction, he or she wants to know about you, not just your name, something more about you. So you need to make your introduction a little informative. You need to provide some more information and make it informative. So I will tell you a few points which must be included when you give your introduction, especially in a formal setting. In a casual setting, you can just include your name, what are you currently doing, where are you from, and a little about your family. But when you are in a formal setting, okay, when you are facing an interview, you have to make sure that you provide some specific details in order to make your introduction informative. So, as we all know, we have to start with the name. So, you have to first of all tell your name. How are you supposed to tell your name? Do not start with myself. This is one of the most common mistakes that people make. You might have heard a lot of people, in fact, a lot of experienced people doing the same, making the same mistake. But myself is that word which cannot be used in the beginning of the sentence. So, never ever use myself when you introduce yourself. Okay, just say it in this way: my name is, and then your full name. Make sure that you mention your full name, not just your first name. Okay, and if you have any middle name, you must mention your middle name as well. Do not add Mr. Miss before your name, because the other person can see you, the other person can hear you, so you don't have to separately mention it. Okay, so you don't have to add Mr. Miss before your name. My name is Priya Singh. My name is Rajiv Sharma. My name is Jayashree Deka. This is how you are supposed to say your name. Now, have you noticed, after I mentioned my first name, after I mentioned the first name, I stopped for a while, stopped for a second, and then mentioned my last name. Why? There are a lot of surnames, and maybe we are not aware of 90% of the surnames. So, when you give your introduction, the other person might not be also aware of your surname, but you have to make it clear that this is my first name and this is my last name. You cannot say it in this way. My first name is Jayashree and my last name or my surname is Deka. You cannot say it in this way, isn't it? Now, how to make it clear to the other person? How the other person would be able to understand it clearly that yes, this is your first name and this is your last name. If you stop for a second after you say your first name, the other person would be able to understand that yes, this is your first name and this is your last name. So, after you say your first name, after you mention your first name, wait for a second. Do not wait for a long period, okay? Just wait for a second, stop for a second, and then mention your last name, okay? My name is Jayashree Teka. So, this is how you are supposed to say your name. After your name, you have to say the name of your hometown. You are not supposed to provide your postal address. You just need to mention the name of the city or the name of the town or the name of the village. And if you are in a different state, you can also mention the name of your state. Suppose you are from Meghalaya and currently you are in Assam, you are in Guwahati. So, in that case, what you can do is you can mention the name of your city and then you can mention the name of the state. I am from Shillong, Meghalaya. If I go to some other state, then I'll simply say I am from Guwahati, Assam. So at first I'll mention the name of my town and then I will mention the name of my state. After you mention the name of your hometown, you have to mention your qualification. Currently, you are pursuing BBA, but BBA is not your qualification. Okay, your qualification is higher secondary. All right, until and unless you do not pass BBA, you do not complete the course, you cannot say it as your qualification. Qualification refers to official completion of a course, which means when you pass the examination and complete the course, you can refer it as your qualification. Okay. Now your qualification, as I have mentioned, is HS. So when you mention your qualification, okay, how are you supposed to mention it? I have completed higher secondary in the year 2020 from the name of the school. From, for example, Maharshi Vidya Mandir. I have completed higher secondary in the year 2020 from Maharshi Vidya Mandir. So you have to also mention the name of the institute from where you have passed the examination and also the year of passing. Now, how are you supposed to add the course that you are currently pursuing? Or how are you supposed to mention the course that you are currently pursuing? So you can simply say it in this way. Currently, I am pursuing Bachelor's of Business Administration in Assam Downtown University. Or I am a third semester student of Bachelor's of Business Administration in Assam Downtown University. When you mention the name of the course, mention the full form. Do not just stick to the short form because someone might not understand. Okay, so that is why mention the full form of the name of the course. This is how you are supposed to mention your qualification. After you mention your qualification, what you have to do is, if you have done any other course apart from the undergraduate and postgraduate courses, you can mention the name of that course as well, which is known as other qualification or professional qualification. If you have done any kind of vocational training, if you have completed any kind of vocational training, any kind of vocational course, any kind of short-term course, then you can mention the name of the course, the duration of the course, and also the name of the institute from where you have done the course. For example, I have completed diploma in computer application from ABC Institute. Okay, so you have to mention the name of the course, the name of the institute as well. Only if you have the certificate. Okay, you cannot just mention the name of any course without having the certificate. You must have the certificate, then only you can mention it. Otherwise, no, you are not supposed to mention it. Okay, I have completed 6 months diploma in computer application from ABC Institute, the name of the institute. Okay, so this is how you are supposed to mention if you have done any other short-term courses. After you mention this, you can mention how many members you have in your family. I have, suppose, 5 members in my family. I have 7 members in my family, including me. Or if you live in a nuclear family, then you can also say it in this way. I have my parents and my sister back at home. Or you can just say, I have 5 members in my family, including me. I have 6 members in my family. You are not supposed to make it too long. You are not supposed to provide any other detail regarding your family. If the other person asks you afterwards, tell me something about your family, then you can mention the details. But when you introduce yourself, you are not supposed to mention the details. You can just stick to the number of family members. Okay, and it is not that mandatory to. Okay, if you want to include it, you can do so, and if not, then you can exclude it as well. After that, you have to mention your hobby. Okay, if you have one hobby, then it is my hobby is. Okay, you're supposed to say it in this way. You have to use the verb is. If you have more than one hobby, if you have suppose 2 hobbies, if you have suppose more than 2 hobbies, okay, then you are supposed to mention it in this way. You're supposed to use the verb are. My hobbies are. Okay, suppose if you have one hobby, then my hobby is painting. But if you have more than one hobby, my hobbies are gardening and cooking. My hobbies are singing, dancing, and writing. Okay, so you are supposed to use 2 different verbs for this. Okay, now your hobbies must be relevant ones. Okay, your hobbies must not be silly. Like I like to sleep, my hobby is sleeping, my hobby is eating, my hobby is watching television, my hobby is chatting with my friends. These are silly things. You might like to sleep or eat, you might be a foodie, but you cannot mention it as your hobby. You cannot sound silly. So make sure that your hobbies are relevant, logical, and sounds good. Your hobbies must not sound silly. Okay? Then, after that, what do you have to mention is if you have done any internship, if you have completed any project work, okay? If you have worked somewhere, so you have to mention your work experience, if you have done any internship, or if you have completed any project. If not, do not mention it. If not, do not say it in this way. I do not have any work experience. I have not done any project. I have not yet done my internship. No, you're not supposed to add anything as such. If you have done it, you can mention it. If not, just remove it. Okay, do not add anything negative. Do not say that I have not done this, I have not done that. Okay, now you are just in the third semester, so I am sure you have not worked anywhere. You have not done any internship, and I am not sure regarding any project. If you have done completed any good project, and you can mention it. If not, then you can just skip that whole point, but do not say I have not done it. Okay, after you provide all these details, you have to provide a specific detail about yourself which will help you to stand out. Okay, which will help you to stand out. For example, you can mention anything related to your skills. You can say that I am a good communicator, I can communicate with people properly. You can also mention something related to your goals, something related to your dreams. You can also mention your achievements. Okay, so you can mention any detail which will help you to stand out. Okay, do not forget to mention any such detail in your introduction which will help you. Okay, rest of the details are similar. Okay, suppose you are facing an interview. Suppose you are in an interview. There will be other candidates as well. So the other candidates will also provide the same details. The name of the hometown, qualification, then family details, hobby. But what will help you to stand out? What will help you to be that unique person in that particular crowd? Your skills, your achievements, or your goals. So mention any of your skills, mention any of your achievements, or you can also mention your goals. Okay, after you are done with all these details, end it up, wrap it up with a thank you. End it with a thank you. Do not forget to say a thank you. Okay, so this is how you are supposed to give your introduction. Okay, I hope all of you have understood, and I hope from now onwards you will be able to give your introduction properly, as I have taught you all how to give your introduction in a formal setting. Okay, I will also provide you some other details related to how to introduce yourself, and also I will provide you certain notes as well later on when I start the classes. That's all for now, students. If you have any questions for me regarding introduction, then you can please ask me.